Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us at today's webinar, Supply Chain Careers for Canadian Newcomers. We've got a great show lined up for you today. So at any time during the presentation, if you want to say hi to us, feel free to use the chat feature. And we will have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. We also have a survey. So after the webinar, we would really appreciate if you could take less than a minute to fill out the survey. The URL is down there, but I will also be sending you a follow-up email for those who registered for today's webinar. Now, who is here today? Myself, my name is Gavin L. Young. I'm the content developer for Career Loans. Today's guest speaker is Nicole Burgess, the Executive Director and CEO of the Saskatchewan Institute of Supply Chain Canada. Joining me today as well is Cheryl Murray, an Information and Financial Counselor with the Career Loans program. Before we jump in, we have a short video about the Career Loans program. Cheryl will be talking more about the program at the end of the presentation. But before then, I just want to show a quick video about the services we offer.
I'm Rianne Mendoza, and I came to Canada from the Philippines last year in November.
Hello, my name is Ifoma. I came to Canada June 2019.
My desired occupation in Canada is a privacy lawyer.
And my desire is to work as a medical doctor in Canada. The major challenge that I was facing was financial.
I don't have the sufficient resources in order for me to enroll.
I used part of the money that I got from Career Loans to register for the first part of the exam.
I was able to enroll in the training programs to becoming a privacy professional,
To buy a mini laptop that I would use to prepare for the exams.
to purchase all the required texts,
Ever since I applied to Career Loans, I can say that my career outlook is definitely brighter
I will also be getting my certification for Asia.
because I've gotten the assistance that I needed. I've been able to register for the exams.
I am now more prepared to become a privacy professional in Canada.
Things are looking brighter. Yeah, I just feel like, I'm getting closer to my goal.
And thanks to Career Loans, I am now more confident and in my way towards my journey of becoming a privacy professional here in Canada.
All right, so here is a quick rundown of today's schedule. First, I'll be introducing our guest speaker, Nicole, who will then be giving the presentation about supply chain careers for Canadian newcomers. Afterwards, Cheryl will be joining us for a short presentation about how career loans can help newcomers. And then we will have the Q&A. So get those questions ready anytime during today's events. And we will have the conclusion afterwards. I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, Nicole Burgess, who is an association management professional with over 20 years of experience and is currently the Executive Director and CEO for the Saskatchewan Institute of Supply Chain Canada. In association, she has successfully grown over the past 13 years. Nicole has a degree in communications through Simon Fraser University and holds the Certified Association executive designation. In addition to her primary role as CEO, Nicole also chairs numerous committees and continues to serve on a variety of working groups in the areas of education, finance, programs, marketing, and IT. Nicole has been twice published in the Trade Magazine Association and also quoted in various publications. So please welcome me in joining. Please join me in welcoming Nicole Burgess to today's webinar. How are you?
Hi, thank you so much, Gavin. That was great. Thank you for the lovely intro, and that was an amazing video. Great job on that. I'm just going to quickly share my screen. Let me know if it comes up okay.
Perfect.
We're good? Okay, good.
All right, take it away, Nicole.
So much, Gavin, and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for coming today to this session. I greatly appreciate it. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the supply chain profession in Canada, as well as our association. So today I'm just going to talk about supply chain management in Canada, and what we do as an association, some of the services and programs that we offer to support our members and our practitioners. And then I'm going to be happy to answer some of your questions at the end, as Gavin said. But before I begin, just to avoid any confusion, I just wanted to mention that our association recently underwent a full rebranding about just over a year ago. So we are operating under the name Supply Chain Canada. Prior to this, we were operating as the Supply Chain Management Association, or it was often referred to as SCMA, and that continues to be our legal name. But the reason I'm mentioning this is just because as you're looking through job postings, for example, I'm assuming many of you are already, you will see references to either of these names in a lot of the job postings. So you might see references to SCMA or Supply Chain Management Association, and sometimes even PMAC, which was our name prior to that. So just know that all these acronyms, all these names are actually referencing the exact same association. So just a little bit about our association. Besides the fact that we do like to change our name quite often, we are a not-for-profit professional association that represents the profession of end-to-end supply chain management in Canada. So this includes more than 7,500 practitioners across the country, as well as the wider end-to-end supply chain community. We are a federation, so we're made up of a national office as well as 10 provincial and territorial institutes, Saskatchewan, of course, being one of those. As an association, we've been around for quite some time, and we actually recently celebrated our 100th year anniversary. So as I mentioned today, I wanted to talk a little bit about the profession of supply chain management in Canada and some of the things that we can provide as an association to support and develop individuals looking to come into the profession or who are already in the profession and looking to advance. I'm not going to really go into today what supply chain management is, as it's my understanding that most of you here on today's session already have an education or some level of experience in supply chain from your own country. But for your reference, this is our highly oversimplified definition that we use in defining what supply chain management is. So to give you an idea of the importance of supply chain to Canada's economy, Canada's supply chain currently enables about $1 trillion worth of goods movement per year and contributes about $66 billion to the GDP. It employs currently over 900,000 workers across this country and is one of the most diverse and rapidly evolving professions right now. So just our members alone within our association currently control over $130 billion of annual spend, just to kind of give you a sense of the scope. So the importance and the value of supply chain management is also particularly relevant right now, given this pandemic situation that we're still in. There's probably been no other time in history where supply chain management has been so recognized for its essential contribution to not only the economy and organizations, but also to our everyday lives. So with regard to jobs in supply chain management in Canada, they are essentially available across a wide variety of industries and sectors, both public and private. And this includes many industries such as mining, oil and gas, manufacturing, services, retail, government, healthcare, and education. And that's just to name a few. So some typical examples of jobs in supply chain within Canada includes areas like procurement, strategic sourcing, contract management, materials and inventory management, and logistics and transportation. So really end to end, it's a very broad and a very diverse profession. And now we're seeing with the emergence of things like disruptive technologies, AI, robotics, automation, the supply chain profession is also increasingly becoming integrated with organizations' IT infrastructure. Perhaps more exciting is that there currently are many opportunities for individuals that are looking to enter the profession in Canada. A recent study estimated that in supply chain management alone, that there's expected to be about 350,000 new jobs that are coming available in the next 5 years. So we are expecting to see this demand, and this demand increases the growing need for trained and skilled practitioners. And that's often where we come in as an association. So as a professional association, we have a number of members that are professionals in the area of supply chain management and to whom we provide a variety of services for. So things that we do include continuing education, we provide mentorship opportunities, networking opportunities, resources of various kinds, support, advocacy, and much more. But in addition to member services, one of the main things that we do as a professional association is provide much needed guidance, training, and education to professionals in supply chain management or those looking to enter into the profession. So our training and education we offer is mostly comprised of two main programs, the Supply Management Training Diploma Program and our Supply Chain Management Professional Designation Program, which we often refer to as our SCMP program. Each of these programs are very well recognized in the employer community within Canada, but they essentially serve different needs in different markets. In addition to these two programs, we also provide some continuous professional development training, often geared toward those who have already completed the program and are looking for additional education. But we do open it up beyond people that are just looking to maintain their designation. And oftentimes people will use our continuous education, just to serve different needs that they have at the time. So starting with our designation program, this is our higher strategic level program that is geared toward more mid to senior level practitioners or those looking to aspire to mid to senior levels. It is an applied and case-based program, so it consists of 8 modules ranging from 7 weeks to 13 weeks, 6 workshops, a capstone that we call leadership residency, and also a final national exam. In addition to these great requirements, the SCMP designation also does require a minimum of 3 years experience in supply chain management in order to receive the credential. So why pursue the designation? The reason is there are many benefits and advantages to being a designation holder. These are just a few of them. But from an employment standpoint alone, our designation holders tend to be very well employed and earn an average of 20% more than their SCMP counterparts. In Saskatchewan, we also have just under 200 active designation holders currently, so it also provides a huge competitive advantage when pursuing different employment opportunities, like how it makes you stand out above the rest. So one of the key differences between our SCMP designation program and our diploma program, which I'm going to talk about next, is that the SCMP program has prerequisites to start. So in order to start the program, candidates are required to complete at least one of the following requirements. So either completion of a business degree or diploma, or they could gain acceptance based on having 7 specific prerequisite business courses. Or alternatively, we also accept 5 years of verifiable supply chain work experience. We also do accept engineering degrees, and we've had more and more candidates come through on this path. But the small caveat is that it has to be accompanied as well with an accounting course, and that could be through a variety of sources. Also for candidates who applied to the program to which their post-secondary education was achieved outside Canada, which I'm sure many of you would fall into this category, they must also provide a satisfactory Canadian credentialing assessment, and this is typically done through organizations like IQAS or WES. In addition to these entry requirements, candidates also are required to be a member of Supply Chain Canada prior to starting the program. And where neither English or French are the applicant's native language, then we also do require Canadian language benchmark proficiency of 6 or higher to be demonstrated. And lastly, for those applicants who have already completed some level of supply chain education, perhaps back in their own country, or who have extensive senior level experience in supply chain, we do also have a process that we call RPL, and that stands for Recognition of Prior Learning, which is essentially used to assess possible exemptions and advanced standing within this designation program. So in order to access this particular assessment service, it can be accessed right through our website, because it is a centralized process through our national office. So most of the assessment and intake is done at the institute level through our office. However, this is one process that is done centrally for the whole country through our national office. There is a small cost involved, but if you're not a member, you can actually get your membership with registering in this process. So it's kind of bundled together. And I also suggest that anyone who's maybe interested in kind of understanding if they would qualify for a designation program, or if there might be something that might qualify under the RPL process, I always invite people to feel free to just send me a copy of their resume and transcript so that I can kind of better advise on their personal situation and kind of where they fall within our eligibility criteria. The second national program that we offer is called the Supply Management Training Diploma Program, sometimes referred to as SMT program. And it's geared towards more entry to mid-level practitioners or individuals that are looking to gain some knowledge or training in the area of supply chain management. So it's a little bit more foundational than the designation program, which is a little bit more strategic in nature. This program is incredibly flexible and can be taken as standalone courses or seminars, or it can be taken all together. And when you complete all the components, you get what's known as a diploma in supply management. Both this program and the SCMP designation program are nationally recognized across the country. And the value in this is that no matter where you end up moving in Canada, it's the same recognition, it's the same credential. We do have our individual provinces and territorial institutes, but it's super easy to transfer between them. So, you know, if you live in Saskatchewan now and complete your education, then you move to Ontario, then we simply just transfer everything over to Ontario and you continue on. So it's pretty straightforward and it is all nationally recognized. As mentioned, the diploma is much more tactical and foundational in nature, whereas the designation is on the more strategic side. The diploma is also a much shorter program in duration, obviously less intensive and less expensive, and it does not have the prerequisites to start. So all those prerequisites I talked about, they don't apply to the diploma program. But as a result, it is quite a popular program among both candidates and employers, and it is well recognized as well as the designation. So the diploma as a program is comprised of 4 technical courses that cover what I call the 4 cornerstones of supply chain management. So procurement, transportation, logistics, operations, and also the 6 seminars that cover both business management and soft skills knowledge. So basically, upon completion of the 10 components, an individual would receive their diploma. as well as candidates who do complete their diploma first can also receive some advanced standing if they later decide to pursue the designation. So sometimes people will just want to start with the diploma. It's quicker. They want to put on their resume, get their job, and then later down the road, then they'll pursue their designation. And in those cases, they do get some credit and exemption for the work that they've already done in the diploma. Okay, so just to give you a bit of an idea in regard to the relation between our education programs and job level and function, here are some typical examples of the types of positions held in relation to education attained or sought. Please note this of course is just a list. It's only provided as a reference because oftentimes what we find is that positions, it's largely dependent on the employer and the position and the candidate's overall level of experience in education. But this is just kind of an overall guideline of the type of positions that we see correlating to the education programs that we run. So I know this is a lot of information and there's a lot to consider when deciding whether or not to pursue additional education and training. But if you are interested and you would like us to advise which option would be right for you, again, if you just send me an email along with your information, I'd be happy to provide you some more individualized advice on it. I'll also be able to send you, in addition to this, a lot of information on each program, including details such as pricing and our upcoming schedule, as well as other important information that you might be interested in. In regard to funding, I'm also asked often about funding available for our programs. And unfortunately, since we are a professional association and not an educational institution, our programs don't qualify for your typical Canada student loans. We are, however, ESDC accredited, so our programs do qualify for tax deductions where it's applicable. However, there are often lots of funding opportunities that are available externally, including today's host, Career Loans, and they're going to be talking about that later in the session in regard to funding. So just moving on quickly, as I mentioned at the beginning, in addition to the 2 national programs for the diploma and the designation, we also provide a range of continuous professional development training. So this includes a wide variety of formats from online to webinars to seminars and much more. In fact, just last week, I'm not sure if any of you participated, but we celebrated what we call Saskatchewan Supply Chain Week. It was our 7th year of it. And as part of this week, we hosted a week-long virtual conference. It was provided free of charge to all our local members, and it included a variety of sessions and networking opportunities, obviously virtually, but in normal pre-COVID times and hopefully soon post-COVID times, we will resume a lot of the in-person stuff that we enjoy as well, particularly in places like Saskatchewan, and especially within, say, Saskatoon and Regina, because, we are quite a tight-knit community. A lot of people within the profession get to know others in the profession. So having that opportunity to network with other practitioners is absolutely vital in a lot of people's career journeys, especially when you're in small communities within Saskatchewan. So I'm not going to go too much into the continuous professional development offerings that we do, but just kind of wanted to make you aware of them if they are of interest. And if you follow us on social media or ask to be added to our email distribution list, you'll kind of see more and more of the types of offerings that we do. The last thing I just kind of wanted to touch upon briefly is membership. So this is available to those who have an interest in supply chain management, everything from current practitioners to other business professionals and students. Membership does require an annual fee, and the cost is $4.95 plus GST per year. And we do as well have monthly payments available for that. Membership basically allows individuals to engage and network with other practitioners. As I just mentioned, it's kind of an important component of being part of community within the supply chain management community in Saskatchewan, and benefit as well from a wide variety of programs and services that are specifically for our members within the association. In addition, membership is a demonstration to employers that you're committed to professional development and growth, as well as ethical conduct, because all our members are actually required to adhere to a professional code of ethics. So oftentimes employers will ask for membership as a criteria of employment, and part of that comes from the professional code of ethics that they know that our members have to be upheld to. So there are many benefits to membership. I'm not going to go through all of them today in their entirety, but I just kind of want to highlight a few for you so you get a sense. So many individuals who decide to become members of the association will often do so as a way to acquire the knowledge necessary to obtain a particular job or position, or as a way to advance their careers. This applies directly to those pursuing the designation, so the SCMP designation program, since membership is obviously one of those prerequisites to being able to access the program. For the diploma program candidates, membership is actually not a requirement. However, the majority of our candidates will often still choose to become a member due to the substantial discounts that they receive as being a member in the program. So they save quite a bit of money just by being a member, so it often will pay for itself. In addition to the benefits of membership for these two programs, we also provide a variety of education and training free of charge or at a substantially reduced rate for our members, including complimentary access to member-only webinars and our member-only resource center and knowledge network. One of the most important benefits of membership is obviously those networking opportunities that come from being a member. Unfortunately, with COVID, we've been a little bit challenged over this past year, and we've definitely done a lot of virtual stuff as well. It's not quite the same. And as I mentioned, we are looking quite forward to resuming in person as well, although we will probably continue to do some of the virtual stuff just because it really helps with the travel and those that are in more remote communities. As part of membership here in Saskatchewan, you'll have access to complimentary member networking and events. So we do often have, when we do in-person meetings, we'll have like say dinner meetings or lunch meetings. And so that includes your meal and everything else. So there's no additional charge to that. So there's a lot of value there. There are also additional networking opportunities that are available for our members nationally, including national networking events and access to our national mentorship program that I mentioned earlier. Membership also provides additional benefits such as valuable discounts, not only for our education products and services, but also through our affinity partnerships, which allow members to save thousands of dollars at various local and national businesses. Another important benefit is that of recognition. So as an association, it is incredibly important that we identify and recognize those who have or are achieving great things within Canada's supply chains. So we have had different initiatives over the years where we will recognize people that kind of go above and beyond within the profession and provide recognition, whether it's, women in supply chain or Canadian newcomers in supply chain we did recently, so that we are properly recognizing individuals' contributions to the profession of supply chain management in Canada. So these are just a few of the many benefits of being a member. But if you are interested in membership or interested in maybe signing up, this can be done directly through our website or by contacting me. I'd be happy to help you as well. So that is it for my quick rundown of our association and supply chain careers in Canada. So if you do want to reach out to me directly, here is my contact information for you. Our website is also full of lots of information pertaining to the programs. If you want to learn more about that RPL process that I talked about, that recognition of prior learning, that's all on our website as well as information on membership. So Please feel free to reach out, check out our website, and yeah, I look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you for that very informative presentation. If anyone has questions, we will have a Q&A session afterwards. But before we get to that, I want to introduce Cheryl Murray. Thank you for joining us, who's going to talk a bit about the Career Loans Program and how we can help. So take it away, Cheryl.
Thanks, Gavin. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with you. Well, thank you, everyone. And this is just an introduction to the virtual program here at Career Loans. About the Career Loans Program, we are a virtual service for internationally trained individuals that are residing currently in Alberta and Saskatchewan. We provide free career support, service, and assistance with a microloan application, as well as the career counseling portion of the program. We guide ITIs, internationally trained individuals, so they can return to their careers in Canada, their desired careers in Canada. Our program features includes free career and financial counseling. We have the low interest microloan up to $15,000. The minimum is $1,500 that you can apply for. We offer referrals to employment services in your province, in your community. And we also have a guidance to the accreditation process. And of course, advice, direction, options to alternative careers that are available to you that you may not know about here in Canada. So who's eligible? ITIs in regulated or non-regulated occupations and trade. Of course, as I mentioned, residents in Alberta and Saskatchewan, and the immigration status being it permanent residents, Canadian citizens, or convention refugee with a minimum Canadian language benchmark of 5, which means that you're in the intermediate stage of the CLB benchmark, and you are able to interact and communicate and learn with English. So the benefits, here are the benefits of being a member of Career Loans. You have access to expert counselors such as myself and my partner in Alberta. You have access to the latest industry trend, labor market trend in your province, occupational classifications in your province. You have exclusive access to our content on our membership site, and you also have access to live speakers and recordings of those webinars that we put on, including Nicole today from our membership site. How can we help you? So first of all, it's the one-on-one counseling, and those are valuable in itself. It's the virtual counseling sessions where you will sit one-on-one with a counselor, sharing, navigating that pathway to your career, your ideal career, determining that pathway to your next step. We also offer the referrals. So if you're not aware or the availability of local services that are in your neighborhood, we actually go through a personalized referral based on your unique situation. And of course, our microloans, and that's if you're interested. It's the microloans are available. Your individual counselor will help you through the microloan application. So let's talk about our microloans. What are they? They are provided through our partners at HSBC. And as I said, the microloans are up to a maximum that you can borrow $15,000 and a minimum of $1,500. They are low interest rate microloans, which means they are at HSBC Prime +2. And at the current time we're speaking right now, it is 4.45%. And these microloan has a maturation of 4 years. So you have a span of 4 years to pay back this loan. It is, and we offer continuous support from our career counsel or career loans counselors throughout this payment session. So we don't just leave you there. We are there to help you through every process, every stage that it gets to the final disbursement of your loans and beyond that. So eligibility expenses. So if you are interested in applying for a microloan, what can you put on that application? We talk about the credential assessments. That can be part of the microloan, accreditation process, training, college and university. Is also an expense to go on the microloan. Materials, books, and equipments that you may require for that training. Career-related fees, such as exams, licensures, membership, as Nicole was talking about, association and union fees. And there are additional expenses that can be added as well. I would suggest you talk to your personalized counselor one-on-one to get more details about that, because there are some variants. It is very broad. Now, we are a completely free and virtual program, which means you can access us from the comfort of your own home. All our services are offered free of charge to members. All our services are performed virtually via phone, online, all the virtual platforms that you are comfortable with. We are here to support you. So I encourage you to sign up today for our free career support service. There is no obligations to take out a microloan. We'll just keep that in place. That is if it's something that you need, but there is a lot of value in accessing a career counselor and getting that options and different ideas that you may not think about in your career journey here in Canada. Thank you. So you can reach us at InfoAB if you'd like to get in touch with the Alberta location, and my location is Saskatchewan. So you can email me at InfoSK, and I would encourage you to also like and follow us on Facebook, all the social media network, in LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you for that presentation, Cheryl. And now we'd like to move on to our Q&A session. So I'd like to invite Nicole back onto the screen. Awesome. So we've got a few questions which we'd like to get to, some in the chat, some in the Q&A. If you're in the audience now and you still have some questions, do feel free to type them in, and we will try to get as many of them as we can today. First question for Nicole. Are there any specific incentives you can think about for newcomers to Canada in regards to supply chain, in regards to your program?
Unfortunately, we don't have any like particular specific discounts or incentives that, you know, I could mention. We do have a substantially large percentage of our membership that has become essentially representative of Canadian newcomers. So what we're finding is we're getting a lot of calls, particularly I would say within the last 5 years, particularly where we've seen a lot of immigration happening to Saskatchewan that we just didn't have before. And what we're finding is when individuals look to obtain a job within supply chain, the employers aren't seeming to recognize the education and skills that they're bringing from their home countries. And what they're wanting to see is Canadian recognition, right? So they're wanting to see Canadian education or Canadian experience. And that's creating a huge barrier for a lot of individuals. So a lot of newcomers have come to us and obtained, you know, membership or the education elements so that they could use that to leverage themselves into a position. So it's not that we have any particular incentives, but there are definitely incentives that we're finding for our newcomers in utilizing, and it doesn't have to be through us. So don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to sell you on anything today. It can be through any of the many fantastic Canadian associations or educational institutions. I'm just saying in general, what employers are wanting to seemingly see is that Canadian education and experience.
Fantastic. All right. Here's a question. So some of our career loan members, some of the audience might be from Alberta as well. So is there any sort of contact you share about Supply Chain Canada Alberta specific contacts, or is it all the same website? If you can shed light on that.
Our website actually does encompass all of our provinces and territories. It is automatically, you should be in Saskatchewan. If you're obtaining it from Saskatchewan, it should put you in Saskatchewan. If you're in Alberta, it should put you in Alberta. Although, you know, it can be finicky with the IP depending. But with our email that we put on the information slide, if you just change the SK with AB, then you're going to get Alberta. So it's that easy.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Another question we have, Nicole, is could you talk a bit about the minimum wages for supply chain professionals in Canada?
Well, minimum wage is minimum wage. So whether you're in supply chain or any other profession, the minimum wage doesn't change. I think in Saskatchewan, it's $11.45, if I'm not mistaken. I personally don't know anyone that is working in supply chain management that is in that low realm. We see our practitioners are fairly well compensated, practitioners are fairly well compensated. If you want more specific data on wage trends in supply chain, there is an annual salary survey that's conducted, and that gives you actual data on how supply chain wages are across Canada. So it is kind of regionally broken down, as well as what types of level of education, what levels of experience, what levels, you know, like position wise, that you can put a lot of criteria, whether you're a woman or a man. Unfortunately, that still makes a difference in the wage gap. So it has all that important data. So I'd encourage you to seek out that sort of information. And if you can't find it, please reach out. I'm sure I can assist.
Great. Thank you very much. Another question, Nicole, is what is the difference between enrolling with you as an institute and an educational institution in terms of certificate obtain and employability?
You know, like I said, I think that there's just general value in obtaining education through any sort of a Canadian association or educational institution from an employer standpoint. But really the difference is going to depend on what employers are asking for in their job ads. And that's why I always encourage people, like, look to see what are they asking for? Like what criteria do they have, and tailor your you know, what you end up doing to that, right? If that's the type of jobs that you're looking to get, and this is what they're asking for, then it makes sense that you would try to obtain that. So, you know, and oftentimes we will appear in lots of job ads, you'll see, and that's why I kind of mentioned the different acronyms that we could fall under, because it is important to know. And it could be as simple as, you know, membership. It could be the designation. Oftentimes they won't actually make that a requirement, because our designation holders are so sought after, because there's not enough of them to go around. So oftentimes they'll, in order to not limit themselves, they will actually put it as an asset instead of a criteria, right? Just depending on where you are too. If you go to other provinces, they have many more designation holders to go around. So in Saskatchewan, it's a bit of a uniqueness, and it does give them that competitive advantage.
Fantastic, fantastic. Speaking of Saskatchewan, are there any mentorship opportunities you can think of in Saskatchewan, or maybe even mentorship opportunities for newcomers in Saskatchewan that you can think about?
Well, as an association, we do provide mentorship as a member benefit, but it is nationally managed. So you could become a mentor or mentee, and it might not be in alignment with your home province. It might be in alignment with kind of what you're looking for. So just a warning that through our program, you could be partnered up with someone in a different province or territory. I'm sure there's many other mentorship programs out there. I know through a variety of educational institutions that they offer some. I'm not sure if there's any support that Cheryl has or knows of in regard to other ones in Saskatchewan, but we do have one that through our association is just not necessarily going to be a Saskatchewan mentee.
Right. Thank you. And I think there's one more question about the current state of things. Is the program, Nicole, strictly virtual or class-based?
That's a great question. So it is currently virtual right now. We transitioned really quickly due to COVID and have been utilizing Zoom a lot, simply because Zoom is quite multifaceted in what it can do with breakout rooms and that sort of thing. So we are running all our seminars virtually, all our classroom sessions. Moving forward, we're kind of probably going to retain the virtual element just because it's been so successful, and it allows us to partner with a couple of other institutes in ensuring that we have more offerings for our students and a larger instructor pool and that sort of thing. But there is value in in-person learning. And no matter how hard we try and how great Zoom can be, it's also limited. And there is something to be said for that face-to-face connection. So our hope is that we'd have, hybrid approach to our offerings going forward so that we can accommodate those that can't travel, but still need that kind of instructional support, and also those that really need that in-person face-to-face. So I presume that going forward is going to be more of a hybrid model for us.
Fantastic. Here's a question for Cheryl. It's about the loans that Career Loans provides. Does the loan have to be paid on a monthly basis, or is there a specific timeline for the loan to be repaid? And then follow-up questions, does it affect the credit rating, or is there a certain credit rating that needs to be achieved to get approved for the loan? So I mean, this might be a case-by-case situation, but Cheryl, if you can shine a bit more light on this question.
Yeah, and it is a case-by-case situation, and it is just like a regular bank loan. It is not a student loan where you go to school and then you would pay that back at the end of your term. Once the loan has been approved and it is being dispersed, you are required to pay that the following month. So, and the payments will continue each month. And the purpose of that is, if you look at it, it becomes more manageable because you don't have a cumulative loan that you have to pay back. While you're going to school, you're paying this back. And by the end of the graduation, and with our guidance, because with some financial counseling along the way, you will be able to be debt-free and finish your course on par. So yes, and it does go by case with your credit history. And keep in mind, it is a federally funded loan. So I would suggest just having that personal conversation with your IFC, informational financial counselor, just to see where your situation lies.
Thank you, Cheryl. This is a question for Nicole. What is the scope of supply chain in agribusiness? Are you able to comment on that?
I'm not sure I understand. I saw that question. I'm not sure I fully understand what the question's about. Agribusiness is obviously, supply chain is absolutely integral to agribusiness, as well as many of our other important industries, particularly within Saskatchewan. So I don't know exactly how to answer that, but yeah.
Yep. So if for the person who typed the question, if you have a follow-up, please do type it in and we can try to get that answered. Someone else has a follow-up question to another previous question. So they have seen job advertisements with strict requirements for degree diplomas in supply chain related fields. How can someone like me who just wants to start a career in supply chain get employed? Any tips for that?
Yeah, and it's actually a very common question, and further to that, like, often people will say, well, how do I get, they want experience, but how do I get the experience if I can't get the job to get the experience? It's kind of a chicken and egg scenario. What I suggest to people when I have these conversations very regularly is, I always encourage people to a lot of it starts with the resume. And because that's how you're first selling yourself, right, is through your resume. And really, if you're looking for a position in supply chain, what you want to do is make sure that you're pulling out those elements in your past education and experience that are true to supply chain knowledge skills that employers will be looking for, right? So if I'm looking for a job in supply chain and a lot of my experience has come from, say, retail, right? What I want to draw out is the supply chain elements within those retail positions and highlight those, and not just the other tactical stuff that doesn't apply, right? So I think a lot comes down to that first point of contact with the employer. I also encourage our individuals who, they sign up for membership and they join the programs, and a lot of job positions are asking for, full degrees or diplomas, but just put that you are an active, you are actively in the program. Highlight that you are registered in the program, you're looking to obtain it. Our designation candidates actually get what we call like a pre-nominal designation that they're able to use behind their name that says SCMP candidate. It's specifically for those that are registered, approved, and active in the program, and they're allowed to use that credential behind their name specifically to show employers that they are working towards obtaining their designation. And sometimes that's enough for them to leverage into a position.
Fantastic answer. Thank you very much. I think we have one more. Do you have access to employers and job placements for members? I think you briefly talked about that as well, but if you could expand on that, Nicole.
Yeah, so this is a tough one, and we get a lot of questions about whether we kind of match up people with employment, and we don't. As a professional association, we do often promote different job ads. We have a job posting service that we do certain e-distributions. If you go on our website, you can peruse at your own leisure, different job postings across Canada, but these are ones that specifically came to us to post. The one exception that we do is sometimes if I know someone's looking, like our members, if they are looking for a position, and they will often give me their resume, let me know they're looking, and say, if you hear of any employers looking, feel free to provide my resume, because I do sometimes get employers that reach out to me that don't want to broadcast the job for whatever reason. They don't want to post it, but they are looking, right? And so they're looking for leads. So unless I know people are looking, I can't provide those leads. So it's not a true, matchup, and it happens, kind of, infrequently, but sometimes people will provide me with their resume and information, say, yeah, I'm looking. And then they let me know when they do eventually find a position.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I'm not seeing any other questions. So I think, if there's any questions in the next few minutes, do type them out. If not, we will be sharing, Nicole shared our email. I'll share it again at the end of the presentation, and you can get in touch with Nicole like that. To wrap up, I do want to share, just before I wrap up, I do want to share our upcoming webinar for internationally trained engineers who are looking to continue their career in Canada. That's going to be on Thursday, June 10th at 12 p.m. CST. A link to our Eventbrite page is down below, but I will be sending a follow-up email, so don't worry about that. Another thing I want to highlight is our Facebook contest. So you heard from Cheryl today, but Cheryl has a ton of other tips of wisdom here. So our Facebook contest is simple. Go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/careerloans, and we will have a new video every Monday until May 31st. Tip of the week from our information and financial counselors. All you need to do is like and comment on one of these video posts for a chance to win a $25 Amazon gift card. So it's a win-win, right? You can win a gift card and you can get fantastic tips from our counselors. Last but not least, please get in touch with us if you have any questions about the Career Loans program. Saskatchewan, our email info@careerloans.ca. There's a toll-free number as well. Similarly for Alberta, infoab@careerloans.ca. And like I said, if you have questions for Nicole, please send her an email or visit the website at supplychaincanada.com. And as always, social media, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. That's going to do it for today's webinar. I want to thank, do we have a second question? Oh, no. Do you have? Yeah, okay, so that's it. I want to thank everyone. Just double checking, you can never be too safe. I want to thank Nicole for coming on again. Your presentation was fantastic. I'm sure our audience members found a lot of value to that. And for Cheryl for speaking about the Career Loans program. So thanks again. for both of you for joining us today. And thank you to our audience for watching. This webinar is being recorded, so be on the lookout in your inbox. You'll see a webinar recording and a link to our short survey. So thank you for joining us today and enjoy the rest of your day.